uh, try to make a parallel with, like, consciousness. Human consciousness, there isn't like some physical place in the brain where consciousness is, and yet you don't need to believe in the supernatural to believe that consciousness is real. It's a product of, you know, if you have entirely secular beliefs, then it's a product of physical things that happen in the brain. And it's not really a material entity itself, but it's still very real, very important, and it doesn't exactly control all that much as far as much of the details of what we do, really. But it does control, you might say, the commanding heights. It can control some key things, provide some key executive control over the broad mess of stuff that comes from other parts of ourselves. So even though it's not real, even though it's not a physical entity, it comes out of, it's sort of a function of physical things. It has impact on the physical world. It has impact on our mind as a whole. It has impact on our behavior, and it has therefore impact on the world. I think of like a cultural god, like meaning a god that is entirely a product of culture. And let's say that this God exists to the extent that billions of people believe, and they form this complicated network of communication by voice, by gathering together, by written word, by commonality of experience. This sort of God it has influence in the world. It not only exists, but it, in a sense, actually intervenes in the world. Especially for people who hear the voice of God. Now, it's easy to, a lot of people, when they hear that, they immediately think, oh no, wait a second. Either they're really hearing the voice of God, or they're crazy. But I don't think it's that simple. I think it can be functional. I don't think religion would have survived for so long if it wasn't functional, and it seems to me that some of the people I've talked to who say they hear voices of God, or the voice of God, it seems like it works for them, for some of them, not for others. It seems like this is a way that the brain can work. As I come from the secular point of view, so I presume that people who say they're hearing the voice of God, that it's something happening in the brain, just like consciousness is something happening in the brain, that causes this particular effect. And having that process maybe even detracts from their ability to have consciousness. I don't know. Not that they're not conscious, but it might use up some mind space, But